Africa Investor Today is proudly brought to you in association with Petro SA and Afrexim Bank.
You're watching Africa Investor Today, where we bring you the latest African business news from around the continent. We start today with politics and economy. Namibia's ruling SWAPO party was headed on Tuesday for another big election win with a two-thirds majority that gives it the power to change the constitution, looking likely as more votes came in. Initial results from just over 10% of the 1.18 million registered voters show the Southwest African People's Organization, a former guerrilla movement that led the arid states to independence in 1990, leading with 70%. The Electoral Commission said final results from last week's presidential and parliamentary vote would be published on Tuesday, but counting has been delayed, and analysts said it may take until later this week to get the final count. President Jacob Zuma said on Tuesday that South Africa will continue to help Sudan's unity government overcome its problems. He said South Africa would help ensure unity on the continent. Sudan's ambassador Ali Yusuf Ahmed said Sudan appreciated South Africa's helping its efforts towards achieving peace, stability and unity. He further said that Sudan had been following with admiration the huge strides South Africa had made since 1994 in democracy, social justice and development. Senegalese President Abdoulaye Wade arrived in Ouagadougou on Monday evening to take part in an African conference on employment due to start on Tuesday in the Burkinabe capital. The two-day meeting will enable participants to discuss issues relating to employment on the continent. Speaking on arrival, President Wade said there were no magic wand to resolve the problem of unemployment in Africa, especially because experiences differ from one country to another. You're watching Africa Investor Today. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
Redefining energy means redefining life. At the Petroleum, Oil and Gas Corporation of South Africa, our commitment to greater innovation and greener fuels has made us pioneers in the field of gas-to-liquids technology. It has also earned us worldwide recognition for producing the cleanest fuels through environmentally friendly processes. That's how we've become the international leader in diesel technology. Through pure innovation, pure energy, pure brilliance.
On to companies and markets now. Safaricom share price beat a retreat from a three-week rally that lifted it past the IPO price, dampening investor expectation that a window was opening for them to harvest their investments. The share gained 5 cents to trade at 4 shillings and 90 cents in early trading on Tuesday, up from Monday's average of 4 shillings and 85 cents, but stayed below last Friday's closing price of 5 shillings. Trading data from the Nairobi Stock Exchange showed that there was a deadlock between the sellers, who priced their share at 4 shillings and 90 cents and those who queued to buy at 4 shillings and 85 cents, marking a significant dip from last week's rally that lifted the stock to a 12-month high of 5 shillings and 20 cents. Kingdom Metals Limited shareholders on Monday voted for amendments to the company's financials, reversing provisions made by Chairman Much Masunda relating to KML's South African investments. It was felt certain sections of the chairman's statement were preemptive and prejudicial to the ongoing court cases in South Africa. The resolution for amendments was adopted after a long heated debate on the issues during the company's annual general meeting. Amendments to the accounts are in respect of litigation between KML and two South African firms, Mentor Holdings and Cool Bay Investments. Sources said it had appeared there would be no unanimity on how to issue of provisions made by Mr. Musunda should be treated, and a poll was called and the majority voted in favor. Stay with us, we'll be back after this.
Afrexim Bank is Africa's leading trade finance bank, an organization dedicated to promoting African trade through credit, risk-bearing and advisory services. We pride ourselves on having local presence throughout the continent and are committed to extending our award-winning trade and project finance programs to unlock private sector development continent-wide. We invite you to become a part of our vision for a strong Africa in a changing world. If you trade within Africa, contact us to support you.
On to banking and finance now. Rwanda's private inflows from abroad are expected to reach $175 million by the end of this year, with an increase of 30% from last year, the National Bank of Rwanda has said. This follows an increase by 24% in the first half of 2009, beating earlier forecasts that remittances will drop by 15% at the end of the year. In the first 6 months of the year, statistics indicate that $85.69 million was remitted into the economy, compared to $69.13 million in the same period last year. This year, the central bank established an investment fund known as the Rwandan Diaspora Mutual Fund to facilitate citizens abroad to invest in their home country through remittances as a way of contributing to national development. Kigali City Council is also developing a framework that will facilitate and make it easy for the diaspora to acquire land and housing. Standard Bank Group yesterday announced that it has successfully placed a $500 million US 10-year Tier 2 bond on the London Stock Exchange through its UK-based subsidiary Standard Bank plc. This is the first transaction made in an international capital market by Standard Bank since 2006. Speaking on the bond issue was Derek Duffy, CEO of Standard Bank plc, who said, "The great news is that our issue was 5 times oversubscribed. This is evidence of the strength of investor confidence in Standard Bank's fundamentals and our strategic focus on core emerging markets." We'll be moving on to the latest bulletin on infrastructure after this, so stay with us.
Africa Investor, the leading African investment magazine, is essential reading for investors in Africa, filled with the very latest in Pan-African investment and finance news. In addition, log on to africa-investor.com to find out more about our exciting capital market, infrastructure and tourism events, and our long-standing investable Africa Investor 100 Index series, which tracks over $600 billion of African equities. Doing business in Africa, you can't afford to be without Africa Investor.
In infrastructure news now, the number of people traveling by air worldwide and within Uganda is increasing, signaling the recession is easing and that better pay delays lie ahead for players in both the airline and tourism industries. On Monday, the International Air Transport Association reported that global airline traffic for scheduled flights during October showed improving conditions in the industry. Passenger and cargo demand for air transport was up by approximately 1% from capacity realized during the same months last year. The West Indian Ocean Cable Company, the largest single investor in the East African submarine system, said on Tuesday the construction and laying of system is on schedule and the installation of the landing is to commence in Maputo, Mozambique before the end of this week. This marks a major milestone in the construction of the new system, which will deliver 1.4 terabits per second of capacity along Africa's eastern seaboard. The WIOCC board has been meeting in Nairobi to review the progress of the project and prepare for the commencement of the installation of the cable in Maputo. Impact Minerals, the Australian miner, will aim to raise $5 million by placing 24 million ordinary shares at 21 cents per share. The majority of the raised funds will be used to expand exploration in Impact's Lokobola prospect in Botswana, where drilling on its uranium project will begin later this month. The first share issue, made up of 13.2 million shares, will be floated on the Australian Stock Exchange. The second issue, comprised of 10.8 million shares, is yet to be approved by shareholders and may be snapped up at a general meeting in early January next year. Impact's interests in Botswana currently cover a strike length of 350 kilometers, but the group has identified over 18 areas of possible interest. And that's all we have time for today. Do join us tomorrow again. Remember to log on to our website at www.africa-investor.com. Goodbye for now.
Africa Investor Today is proudly brought to you in association with Petro SA and Afrexim Bank.